Hello guys, welcome back to another video today with ARC Exotics, and in this video what we're going to be doing is telling you about how to start your basic isopod colony and everything you'll need to know. We're going to be doing a little bit of an outdoorsy video, hence why the intro is me in my back garden, a little bit different from the usual setting, and basically we're going to be going around and doing everything that we need to do to basically start you off with your own little colony of isopods. So let's get into it. One last thing as well before we do get into today's video. Look down, we're not wearing the normal ARC shirt with the logo here. We're actually wearing our brand new shirt, which obviously ARC on there in smaller writing. And on the back we have a pretty cool snake design. Now I'm by myself, there's no one with me, so I can't show you the back, but I'll get someone to film the back of it and show you how absolutely sick this looks. Now if you guys want one, all you've got to do is message me and we can sort you one out. They're on sale now as well, so let us know. But like I say, this is pretty cool and definitely something a little bit different from the old design. I know everyone don't want to wear a top with a logo on, but this is sort of more stylish and a bit more fashionable, so that should be pretty good. And obviously this was sorted out by Merch Print Yorkshire, and they are absolutely outstanding. They've dealt with us amazing, and they actually designed the exact image I wanted. I sent them the image that I found from elsewhere and changed it a little bit, and I said, can you basically replicate this? And they've done it absolutely perfect, first class. So a massive thank you to Merch Print Yorkshire. They've done an amazing job on getting me this shirt, and I'm definitely going to be working with them in the future on a few more shirt designs. So yeah. Now I couldn't find anyone to show the back of the shirt, so I basically just put you on top of Gus's outdoor tortoise enclosure, and I will show you now. So like I say, this is the front, nice and simple with just the ARC here, and then on the back, as you can see, the logo here. Not sure how much of that you guys saw, but like I say, that will have to do because I'm by myself. So yeah, end of the day, it's a pretty cool shirt, so that's enough said. So guys, as you can see, we are back in the reptile room. Like I say, it's still getting converted. There's still a lot to do, but that video is not about the reptile room, it is about these guys. Now, this is my Isopod setup. Like I say, everyone's is going to be slightly different, but this is mine. I know the lighting's probably not the best, but as you can see here, we have an array of different things. I'm going to try and stand this way so you can see the lighting, so you can see the actual content better because the light is behind me. But we've got loads and loads of decaying leaf matter, which is what we've got from our garden, and I'll show you sort of where to get that and what to go for when it comes to that. Got loads of really thin little twigs and sticks, which basically all I've done is just snapped them up multiple times and placed them on this left side here. So if you sort of dig away past the leaves, all it is here is tiny little twigs which they can rummage in, and a few bigger ones as well which they'll actually work their way inside of once they get going. I've just changed out the wood which was in here, and all of it had holes in, so they obviously do a very good job at that. Try and put that back to how it was, sort of thing. And then coming towards this far end here, all we have is this little log just to weigh down the actual leaves, but this corner is just full of, well, at the minute these leaves start decaying because obviously you change it, but they will slowly turn to this. So that is how they sort of start off, and then over time the isopods will slowly eat them and they'll sort of go down to that. You can see the actual bite marks on that there, and that will just decay slowly and slowly. So this corner is just filled with, you can see a little guy there. This corner is filled with leaf litter, and all we've got in here is just the giant oranges. We did have some of the greys, but they didn't appear to be doing too well. So all we've got is the oranges. There is a few other things like the mealworms, which you can see down there. Basically, they all sort of help with a little ecosystem itself. So they'll maybe get the bits that the isopods won't get, and they'll just contribute overall. They'll also eat and burrow inside wood like this as well, because it's nice and dry and flaky. So they will help and obviously turn into beetles, and again, when they're beetles, they'll still help break down all of the matter in here. Now it doesn't matter if the leaves get too rotten like this, which is a complete black leaf, because it will just add to the overall sort of condition, like the dampness. They need quite damp environment. They don't really have a dry environment. As you can see here, it's all quite moist, especially once you sort of dig under a little bit. Now the very bottom of this has actually got a really thin layer of dirt just there. It was a lot thicker, but I found it weren't getting on very well. You can see one just there, but I found they weren't getting on very well. There's a couple of bio balls in there, but they were just from an old setup that I chucked in. But like I say, that is overall the sort of consistency you want to be going for. And this little corner again is just filled with loads of sticks and logs. So now we're basically going to show you what you can and can't have, or what you should and shouldn't have in your own Isopod setup from your own back garden. Now before we get into the garden section of the video, I basically want to just go through a couple of things which we've got in front of us. Now they will eat the bark pieces that you can get from your local pet store. You should be able to get them anywhere, and obviously this is good because it is as natural as basically can be, and this is exactly what they would be on in the wild. So obviously if you want to read that, then you can, but obviously woodland and jungle, obviously it says reptiles, but inverts as well, and it's a 100% natural product. So obviously this is the stuff here, and it hasn't been sort of enhanced or modified in any way to, you know, make it into production. This is just natural bark from trees, and they'll obviously get in the crevices there, if it will focus, and basically eat this and just live in it. So this is another key element if you maybe haven't got the back garden, or you haven't got the facility to get stuff outdoors, then that is what you're going to have to resort to. But £6 it cost me for this bag, and it is a pretty big bag. But yeah, that is another alternative, or you can have both like I have. Now onto food, we have these two here. Now a lot of you will be looking at me thinking, why have we got Sticky Foot Gold on here? But basically we'll talk through this one first. Now they're both Arcadia products, and they're both really good in my eyes. This isn't me just bigging up Arcadia. I think a lot of their stuff is absolutely amazing. I could go on about that, but we'll go on in another video. Custodian Fuel, now this is something that I've been using ever since I've had the isopods, and obviously it feeds bioactives as well. So like you could put it in your bioactive setup and it will feed stuff like the woodlice, which is the isopods, worms, springtails and beetles. So that is all basically pretty good stuff. So even if you have a few mealworms in the Isopod setup, they will thrive off that. When they turn into beetles, they will also thrive off that. So this is basically an all-round food for the setup that you will need. Now this is pretty easy to get hold of in a lot of pet stores. I know in the US it's a little bit harder to get hold of, but like I say, if you want to pause it and read it, then you can. And there's a lot of information on the back as well. Now as you can see here, that is basically showing the isopods absolutely going to town on it, and they do, and there's a lot of information and a lot of helpful content as well. So like it says, for use with custodian species, and it lists them all, and like I say, it's just a really good product. Couldn't recommend it anymore. Now as for this, you'll be thinking this is a gecko food, why are we giving it to isopods? From time to time, obviously like you should do with any animal, how big or how small is irrelevant, but you should change up the diet. Now from time to time I use this and a lot of Pangea. I mix it up with the flavours, but I'll basically mix up a little bit of this and put it into a pot, and again they will smell it and just go to town on it and clear it up. This is another Arcadia product, and again all of it is on here information wise for what you need to know, but it's mainly used for lizards and a lot of sort of arboreal smaller species like the crested geckos, day geckos, stuff like that. But again, they will eat that as well, as with the Pangea, regardless of what sort of flavour it is. They're not really too fussy. So they're the main two, along with obviously all the others for that. And the bark pieces as well is another handy little tip. So implement all three of them into the setup and it should be pretty good. So guys, I am out in my back garden, which you can see is a pretty decent size. Now I understand not everyone has a garden of this size, but they're a little titty. But basically the top tip for coming outside and getting stuff for your isopods will be under places like this bush here. Now this is quite obviously a thick bush, and we've got quite a lot around here as well, but obviously underneath here, so getting closer up, you can already see the cat's ball, but that's not what we're looking for. You can already see there's loads of leaves that have just naturally dropped off. Now these have already started to go brown a little bit, but that doesn't matter now. They're quite hard, but that is good because that is something they will still use. So basically you can either pick them fresh from things like this, and they'll obviously last a bit longer and die, or basically you can just under here pick all of the leaf litter. And to be fair, because they're isopods, you can't really give them parasites or things like that, so it doesn't really matter about washing them and drying them out. As long as they're not going into a tank with reptiles, then you'll be fine. So basically just go around your whole garden and underneath bushes and plants, stuff like that, grab them, and little things like this, you can get the sticks off and just snap them off, all of these, you know, and then just break them all up and basically make the most of what you've got around you. Because if I can just get a small handful of these now, that is already a good little pile, and once they're spread out, then they're going to be absolutely perfect for your own little isopod colony. Hello. Hello. Oh, what's the matter? This is the most aggressive cat ever, but at the minute she's being quite sweet, aren't you? Whoa, see, she was, but not anymore. Bye, Tootie. Now we're moving to the second location in the garden. Now this is actually under our oak tree, so as you can guess, on the floor around it there will be a lot of little twigs. Now these little twigs are perfect, as you can see there's loads, and these are all basically just naturally sort of, you know, formed. You don't have to do anything to sort of acquire them, they're ready to go. Obviously you want to make sure there's not like ants and stuff on them, but just loads of little sticks that have already fell off and already started rotting. Now like this one is perfect because all of the green, if it will focus, which it won't, we'll put it on the floor, there we go, all of the green sort of, I guess it's algae as such, will be eaten by the isopods. So that is perfect sort of stuff, and obviously you've still got the little bits of crusty dried out leaves. So all of the little sticks like this, just want to go around and pick them up, and hopefully after going around for a little bit of time you have a nice little collection like that. And if they're too big you can snap them down, get some of the big ones like this because they'll go inside of there, and that is your sticks and leaves now done. Now as for food, obviously this would be much easier to do from a supermarket, but being as I've got it in my garden I may as well use it. This is actually an apple tree, and isopods absolutely love apple. So basically what you want to do is just grab an apple from the supermarket or anywhere, or if you've got them at home like me, even better, slice it up, and isopods will go absolutely nuts for this. So again, this is all stuff that I can get from my own back garden, and you might be able to too, and if you can't, then everyone can get hold of an apple, it's not too difficult. Now moving on to the next thing, if you guys don't want to buy substrate from a reptile shop or a pet shop, because obviously it tends to be a bit more expensive, what you can use is just standard topsoil. These guys will not care regardless, do you know what I mean? And obviously you can get a lot of this for a lot less of the price of something like maybe Arcadia. So yeah, it will be much easier to get hold of and use. And for those of you wondering, there will be an outdoor wildlife video on my channel soon, basically containing everything that we have in our garden, because yeah, this is just a little pond, but there is so much wildlife in here, like newts, frogs, toads, obviously we've got goldfish, koi, so yeah, there's loads of little stuff in here, so we will be doing a video on that soon, so stay tuned for that. So what we're basically going to do now is just add some of the bark that we said about earlier. This can just go sort of anywhere around the tank or just in one corner, but we're just going to leave ours in one corner, doesn't matter too much. And then some of the apple that we got from our own back garden, they absolutely love this, and obviously the mealworms will eat this as well. You don't want to put it all in one spot, just sort of chuck it about, they'll find it, they'll smell it, and other than that, that should basically be your Isopod setup. Now obviously you can add as many as you want into this sort of colony. They'll grow sort of, you know, slowly and steadily, but you can start with 1 pack or you can start with 10, it really doesn't matter, and over time they will grow. Now I've actually had this colony going when I got my first leopard gecko, so obviously it's been going for quite a while now, definitely over a couple of years, and I just keep adding to it every couple of months maybe, but like I say, the orange ones seem to do the best in this sort of setup. And yeah, like I say, that has got everything you need, starting from the substrate to the food, the environment they need, like the leaf litter and the leaf matter and the little sticks and stuff like that, and everything else in between. So there we go. So guys, that is basically today's video done and dusted. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope that has benefited you as well. We are currently doing the outro on a little swing chair in my back garden, so why not? It's a nice day, I make the most of it. And like I say, the video was outside as well, so why not make the most of being outside? It's always good to get out. So basically that is, like I say, the video in a nutshell, no pun intended. That is the video in a nutshell, and that has covered everything that you need to know, from going right down to the substrate layer all the way to starting off with your very first set of isopods. Or maybe if you just keep them in the tub, that is how you can keep them to make them breed and live a lot longer. So thank you for watching today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and stay tuned for another one next week, or maybe even every 3 days now. I'm doing quite well with it every 3-day upload at the minute, but obviously I've had a little bit of time off work, so things are a little bit different. When I get back to work it might change, but at the minute every 3 days is going quite well. So like I say, hope you've enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for the next one. Goodbye.